Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about Udyr. I noticed a lot of you guys thought that the Udyr rework didn't really land well, that it wasn't a good rework, and that, some of you just called it a failed rework, in fact. So I decided to get more perspective on this. I wrote a community post and asked your guys' opinions yesterday, and then I figured, a day later I'd go through and into the most upvoted, or at least, I don't know how the YouTube algorithm does it. Maybe downvotes do something, I don't know. But, I'd go through like the top posts here, give my perspective, respond to these posts, read them, and see, why do you guys not think the Udyr rework went well? So, from top to bottom, I'm going to say the first thing. I'm going to give you the first complaint here. I don't like the head. The head is ridiculous. This, it's like his neck is coming out of here instead of here. I don't like the head. If it was just, like, I know what they were going for, and it just doesn't work for me. So that's my first complaint. I'll just throw this one out there. Top to the bottom. He has great visuals and concepts. I do agree. He looks better, except for the head thing. Like, visually, the effects and shit, the Phoenix, this looks much better. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I do agree with that one. But his most viable builds are just boring to fight. As and play against. Well, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Sunfire Champions, what are Sunfire Champions gonna do? Conceptually, they want to stand next to you, use tenacity, slow resist, and durability to stand next to you, and then do a lot of damage by standing next to you and, doing a lot of Sunfire damage. Yeah, conceptually, that is what they're trying to do. So I guess, like, you're gonna, yeah, that it is a bit boring. Yes, still feels like an autopilot champion. Yeah, I mean, for the most part. Other than, I mean, if he awakens his E in a bad time, then you can, like, stand and fight him, because then he can't awaken his W or R, I guess. So there are more things. Like, do you want to awaken your W and be tankier, or do you want to awaken your R and do more damage? So the fight lasts longer or shorter. There's not much to interact with from your opponent's side, but the Udyr player has to make more choices, I suppose. But even lost his, I'm going to run around like crazy passive. Instead, he just slows you forever. It takes a long time to die and slowly kills you. Okay, well, I actually want to talk about this one. This is something a lot of people have a misconception on. Okay, here's the thing. Udyr can run around really fast and basically auto attack you to death, or he can run around fast, not really fast, and then slow you so his team can get into range. This gives him more utility, and this gives him more that he can actually do. So potentially at the high ranks and stuff, like you might see like an Udyr in a team fight slowing everyone, having utility. You might actually see him maybe pick competitively, other than that one time he was like really overpowered. So basically, like, comparatively, like if you compare your movement speed to his movement speed, before the rework, he was a lot faster than you. After the rework, he's a lot faster than you. You're just slowed. So, like, it's the same thing. It's just that he has, again, the teamfight utility of having an AoE slow. So maybe at the high ranks, or maybe, even competitively, maybe he could be picked. That was the idea. That's what they were going for. I don't know whether you find it fun, but, there you go. Other tanks do this, but most of them have some interesting stuff on their kits to spice up their gameplay. Not Udyr, though. He just autos you to death with enhanced effects. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so, like, Cyan has his Q, you need to dodge. He's got his W, do you try to break it? Do you try to, get away from it? Mundo has, like, cleavers to dodge. Mundo's not, like, super interesting either, but at least he's got, like, cleavers to dodge and shit, right? He's got, like, the ult to play around, the W, don't let him book a minion into you, right? Shen, you dodge his Q and his W. Ornn, you try to not get hit by his brittles or his charge or his ultimate, right? Udyr, on the other hand, like, yeah, I mean, there's not, like, no one can really argue there's much going on with this. Like, oh no, he went Phoenix and slowed me and then autoed me. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, I do agree. It's better than it was before, but it's not, it's not great. I'm gonna be honest. They probably should have done more for a 2022 champion. I feel like they maybe should have done a little bit more, added something. Like, I know they're just trying to keep him the auto attack champion who hits buttons and then goes like, yay, auto attack, yay. Like, I know that's what they're trying to keep, but they did what they could, I guess. you know, they did their best with trying to keep it as simple and relatable. Okay, you know who I blame is all the people who whined about old Aatrox, whoever those were. I have no idea who those were. For all the people who whined about old Aatrox, you guys ruined Riot ever giving like full like attempted reworks to champions. Now every time, you know, I feel that we're gonna get a lot more Udyr reworks. And, you know, we haven't really received even that many reworks. Like, we got a Mundo rework, an Udyr rework. Like, nothing much changes. They just sort of, like, add one thing to the... Like, I gotta blame the horrible backlash to the Aatrox rework for that coming out. I don't notice much difference fighting him in his old version. I agree with that one. When I first fought when I first fought Udyr, and he was like, oh my god, it's Udyr, and he like ran up to me and he was like rar, 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 and then he went like rar, 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 and then he went like rar, 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 and then he went like rar, 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 and then he went rar, rar. I was like, wait, this is the same thing. wait, did he even get reworked? So yeah, I gotta agree with that one. When I fought Udyr, and I did beat him top lane quite easily, I'm not trying to brag, I'm just saying, like, I fought new reworked Udyr not knowing what he did, and I literally just threw my abilities on him, and he didn't really, he didn't seem to do anything new or fancy other than get, like, the Giga Shield. Like, the Giga Shield, I was like, oh my god, that's a big shield, right? But, like, other than that, it was like, I didn't even really notice I was slowed, because it's not even that much of a slow, particularly early game. Like, when you don't remember, like he used to be, like, really, really fast, and now he's not really, really fast. He's just fast, and you're slower, and it's like, relatively, I felt like, you know, I didn't even notice at first. I'm gonna be blunt. So, yeah, I don't notice much of either. He runs, he smacks a few times, and he runs again. The notable difference is all in his scalings, got increased, or multiple of them will added to an ability, which makes fighting him feel even more stat check than before, in my opinion. Okay. No, okay, adding health, okay. Nerfing his base shield and then giving it a health ratio isn't, like, okay, so his shield breaks even at 2,000 health, and then above 2,000, it's bigger. Like, that's not making him stat checky. That's making him weaker early game and stronger late game. Like, that's just how scaling is supposed to work. A tank with a non-scaling shield is kind of really, 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 really outdated, don't you think? So yeah, adding more scaling doesn't like break the champion. Oh, he's got more AP ratios, so he can actually go Demonic Embrace. Like, that's not a bad thing that Udyr actually has a build that he can do, right? Like, oh, Sunfire Demonic. Oh, yeah, I've heard that complaint too. How original, Sunfire Demonic. Oh, he goes Sunfire and Demonic. Where have I heard that from before? Like, okay, so what, like every champion who goes with a build that's a smart build, like every champion is now dumb for that? Like, if you're an AD carry and you go Shield Bow, Lord Dominic's Infinity Edge, what, someone's gonna like jump out of your closet and be like, how dare you do that? Now you're a not interesting champion because you went with synergistic items that work well together. Sorry, how many champions go Sunfire Demonic? It's like, you know, a lot of champions can go a tank item into Demonic Embrace, and I'm gonna be honest, doesn't that seem intended? Doesn't that seem like the literal intended route that Riot wants you to do that? Because that's what it seems like to me. It seems like Riot wants you to do that. So, the notable, yeah, okay. The rework in general is not bad, but it does need tweaking still. The 2 attacks per stance stood out to me immediately. It doesn't reward attack speed or, in general, damage-oriented builds, since they would need you to stay in the damage stance for a more extended amount of time. Okay, but, okay, let's be honest. Udyr's scaling off attack speed and health and armor and magic resist and ability power and damage and movement and, like, how many scalings can a champion really have? Like, at what point does he need too many items? And at what point is he inevitably just gonna find whichever stats work best? Okay, so he doesn't scale that well on attack speed anymore. Isn't that fine? Isn't it fine that he can just scale primarily off tank stats and AP? Yeah, AD builds are pretty much dead right now, but if AD was viable, I mean, there's plenty of bruiser builds out there that are viable, no? Like, he could figure out a bruiser build if AD ever became good, but, I mean, yeah, for now, he's just going tanky plus AP, and isn't that better? That he doesn't need to, like, try to, when we... Yeah, I think it's fine that he doesn't need as many stats to function. If you remember the Swain rework, if we think back to the Swain rework, if you guys ever remember that one, okay? one of the things they wanted to do was disincentivize Swain from stacking health, because old Swain had to stack a shitload of health and mana. So he had to get mana and health and armor and magic resist and cooldown, or I should say ability haste. At this point it would be ability haste, but it wasn't back then. And, you know, all this stuff. And there was literally no way Swain could do that. So they just buffed up all his stats and shit early game, and then, you know, there was no way to actually make the champion scale because there was no build that had every stat in the game. So, you know, much like the Swain rework finally kind of fixed his mana problems and fixed it so he didn't need to stack health through items. I mean, he can still build health in items, but he doesn't need to stack it, you know? And so I think the Udyr rework, making it so you don't need to stack attack speed, I think that's fine. I think that's totally fine. Okay. The full out stance swap on cooldown mechanics strictly favors tank builds. I don't agree, and I'm not really going to go into that one because I don't really understand his reasoning for saying that. I don't understand your reasoning, my good sir, so I can't say. And ultimately, that's the thing. Udyr should be a bruiser with 2 builds, 1 AD for Q max and 1 AP for R max, swapping stance to fit the need of the moment, not a tank that just spams swaps because his mechanic tells him that's how he needs to play. I disagree entirely. Is there not? There are 2 builds. One is much worse. Yes, Q is much worse than R. AP is much better than AD, but that doesn't mean, you know, just because doing your damage with this is much better than doing your damage with this. It's just a numbers issue, right? Like it's just a numbers issue. I don't. Yes, AP Bruiser is fine and viable, and AD Bruiser will be fine and viable once they touch up the numbers. They will, you know, honestly, they should probably put some AD ratios on his W or something like that, right? Like maybe give his shield or some, you know, some, because he already has lifesteal, so why not just add like an AD ratio to his shield? It works on Riven, it's never broken the game, right? That's a joke, but they could probably still add it to that one. I just disagree with this entire post. I'm not gonna like sit here and hammer on this dude. I have a lot of problems with it, but they're all just personal. Well, dude, tell us how you really feel. And I actually think they did a very good job with the rework. I mean, I think so too. Even though I'm complaining a lot here, I think overall, yes, the rework was good. One of the main problems I have is that he's still a stat sticker. True. We've come to a point in League where those type of champs are looked down upon, and for a good reason. That's also true. Second is the fact that Riot is trying to give him too many builds. Well, no, it's only 2 builds, guys. It's 2 builds. Tank AP or Tank AD. But only one actually becomes viable. Well, that's what always happens. Like AD Akali never took off, and then they just killed AD Akali for AP Akali. Like that's what happens. AD Katarina was broken and unfun, so they killed AD Katarina and just put her into AP Katarina. Like this always happens. I don't know why people expect this to be different. While the rest are complete garbage. Take a look at all AD and tank build. The AD build is useless, but they made an entire ability of his Q centered around it. Meanwhile, the tank build is so ridiculously broken. Okay, it's good. It's not ridiculously broken. My third problem is he still doesn't have a defined role. Tank. I don't mean role in lane. He's jungle or top, obviously. I'm talking about his job in team fights. No. That was a big part of what they did, actually, was to give him a defined role. He sits, this sounds dumb when I'm saying it, but this is the truth. His role is he sits in Wingborn stance in a team fight, doing the Sunfire dot, doing the Demonic Embrace dot, doing the Wingborn Storm dot, slowing everybody, running around, stunning everybody, slowing everybody, stunning everybody. That's his defined role. I don't know how people aren't picking up on that. Okay. Please don't hate crime me or something for this. I've only been playing the game for He's only been playing for 2 years. Dude, you've been playing for a long time. 2 years is a long time. I'm sure there's many people who actually know the answer to my problems. Well, the answer was to give him a more thorough rework, but I mean, obviously we haven't done that, so. I feel like Udyr was so versatile before. No, he was just shit. So you just chose what form of shit you were going with, okay? He was shit one way or he's shit another way. He was bad no matter what. Okay, this is a little bit of rose-colored glasses here. Just because he was bad no matter what you did, didn't mean he was versatile. He can max any abilities, go with any build that made it scale, and that's what made him great. No, you could not. You could play the way you want. No. But now there's just a boring I die slow, but you die a bit faster build. That was literally his viable build. Do you not remember whenever he showed up in high elo or competitively? Come on. Everybody was building AD or P, and now they changed it for a boring tank build, which, again, was his viable high-ranking build before this, while removing the interesting part of his kit. Okay, again, I keep saying this is a numbers issue. His Q numbers are too low. His W needs an AD ratio on it. This is a solvable issue. I think you see it perfectly in action when you look at his win rate. He was a really bad win rate, but his best build has a good win rate. Udyr players just fucking hate his new build and want to play something fun. The champ isn't fun now. Well, I can't tell you what's fun or not. So like I can't tell you you're not. You are, like, I can't do that, right? Like I can't tell you that you're having fun with the champion. If you're not having fun with it, then you're not having fun with it. I can disagree with your opinion, but I can't make you have fun with it. So if you don't like being a tanky tank and standing in the middle of a team fight and slowing everybody and like locking targets down with this AoE slow and stun and stuff, if you don't like doing that, then yeah, you're probably not going to like Udyr. But on the other hand, that is how Udyr has been for years now. That's what he's been doing for years now. So, you know, if you want to have fun, go have fun. Go play the way you want to play, maybe after it gets buffed. I'll do one more here. Oh, I should not have done one more here. Oh, no. Okay, I'll be a man of my word. I love the rework overall, but I have a few pet peeves with it. No stances anymore. I completely agree with motivation, but I really miss having proper stances that don't actually affect gameplay on the jungle that much. Okay, but here's my problem with this. Nobody sat here and was like, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Like, no, your passive would fall off. It was just, it wasn't worth it. It was stupid. You at best would go 1, 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, and then you would go back to 1, 1, 2. Like, that's what you would do, right? Because you used to be able to double proc the R damage if you hit 4 times. The first to proc it, then the next 3 to proc it again. But yeah, you could do that, I guess, but reasonably, the best way to play was to always just shuffle through your stances and not waste any of your cooldowns. And I don't think them just, like, going fully into that, I don't think that's... Is that a bad thing to just, like, kill suboptimal play? Is suboptimal play worth keeping around just because a few times? You can say skill expression, you can say skill ceiling, like, but... You know, at the end of the day, they tried to balance and design them for what worked, not for what didn't. Abilities have 6 ranks. Okay, well, they had 6 ranks before this, so... I get this is supposed to slow down ability progression, considering every one of them is an ult, but it is still disappointing how you can't actually use all your abilities, even when you're at max level, because the baseline they have is pretty weak. Feels like a missed opportunity to find a way of letting him actually use all his kit to its fullest, like pretty much every other champion have. Okay, but Udyr's not every other champion, he's Udyr. If you want to play a champion who can use every ability, go play a different champion. You know, unique champions isn't a bad thing. And again, the way his cooldowns work, you only shuffle between 3 abilities anyway. Could you hypothetically go, you know, in a hypothetical world, could you have put like 1 point in Q in the old system, then like Q, then R, then E, then Q, then R, then E? Yeah, you could, and you can still do that now. You know, there's nothing wrong with it, I guess. I don't know. Udyr looks too clean. No, he looks like a goddamn hobo. I'm not even gonna read the rest of this. He does not look too clean. He looks like a goddamn hobo. I swear to God, he actually just looks too hobo. I don't like Phoenix decks. No, that's a lie. I pretty much love the Phoenix stance itself. It's called, sorry, it's not Phoenix stance. It's Wingborn Storm. Okay. What I do hate is that at this point, I don't remember a time when it was on par with Tiger, and even after the hotfix, you don't, at least shouldn't, go with Tiger for anything else other than having fun, because the ability does not do enough to win a game compared to going tank Phoenix, which, let's be honest, it's real boring and annoying to fight against. Okay, so, and throughout making this video, I have actually kind of like mentally put this together. Yeah, the fact that Q doesn't actually have any utility, it's like Q is no utility. It doesn't slow, it doesn't anything. It's damage, right? The fact that all Q does is damage. Yeah, that's probably not great, to be honest with you. The fact that Q is an AoE slow and R, Wingborn Storm is an AoE slow with tons of utility and teamfight presence, and then Q is just like damage. are like, okay, that probably was bad design. Yes. Yeah. Awakening needs some quality of life improvements. Does it? I'm interested. For the most part, it's okay and you can get used to it, but the awaken bar on top of Udyr really shouldn't stay binary doing the window when you have to awaken your previous ability. It's very easy to lose track of the amount of time you're going to awaken Ram, trying to move optimally through the jungle because of missed timing, or have those fractions of seconds you waste waiting to be sure you're not going to do it add up over a match. That, I'm not sure I fully understand it, but this sounds like, I'm not trying to be mean, but this does sound like a get good issue, right? Like, I could agree, maybe, like, how do you lose track of this bar, though? Right? Like, it just charges, does it not? Is there, maybe there should be, like, an exit? Like, it shows you what it's charging up to? Like maybe there should be, like you know what I mean? Like, an end, so you can kind of, like, gauge your progress towards it. Maybe like how much each auto attack, like there should be like a little dip here. You see like there's a dip here. Maybe it should be bigger, like you know, like much bigger, and then there should be like little lines showing how much each auto attack would remove. I could agree with that, actually. I think that would be a nice quality of life. It'd be a lot better if Udyr had a visual countdown in the window he has to awaken his skill. The binary bar jumping from yellow to red and back just doesn't do enough for Udyr or the opponent. I'll be honest, can his opponent look at that? Because I didn't. I don't pay attention to that shit at all. Udyr, like, he's such a... I don't want to be mean, but he's still such a stat stick that I just kind of run combos on him. And... yeah, that's always worked for me. So, oh boy, if you could actually see your opponent, that'd be embarrassing. That's this video. Yep, that's it. So yeah, actually, in summation, I do agree. Udyr's too much of a stat stick. I do agree that Phoenix having utility and Q not having any utility. Yes, I'm using Q and Phoenix, R and Tiger. Don't worry, I'm gonna keep watching. So Q having no utility, R having a shitload of utility does mean that tank build will likely stay better. W having no AD ratio on the shield does probably mean that AP Bruiser will stay better. He does have a clear utility. No, it wasn't a perfect rework. Yes, they did add some gameplay. The Awaken added something, right? Like, they did something. It's not a bad rework, in my opinion. Like, okay, if you had bad, that would mean regressing, right? But he didn't regress. He moved forward. He just didn't move forward as much as people wanted. Like, people wanted his gameplay to be like over here. It's like, it moved like that. It moved a little forward, right? Like, it's better. And that's how I feel about this. It's better. So make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to leave a comment down below on your thoughts on this. Make sure to subscribe to my Patreon. I need people to subscribe to my Patreon because that lets me continue to eat, and I would appreciate it, and it continues to let me make videos like this more and more. As always, special shout out to my YouTube members. You guys are wonderful. Thank you. You can see them spamming weird emotes in the comments. Thank you to everyone who just makes it through to the end of this video. Thank you for just talking and having interaction. I try to reply to as many comments as I want to. So thank you, everybody. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Goodbye, everyone.